as of today, it was like 8-year anniversary for Eddie Yeranian, voice of the John Frederick Show in the Middle East. He is also based in Cairo. He is also with the Voice of America and with CBS Radio News, where I started with him many years ago. Many years ago. Eddie, it's always great to have you, man.
Thank you, John. Same here, and I always enjoy talking to you.
Am I dating you, like saying we've been together 8 years? Does that make you feel older?
Well, I feel as young as I feel when I swim my laps in the morning.
All right. Well, we'll see. Good answer. All right, Ed, look, you're in Cairo. We got a lot going on here in the Middle East. Obviously, Monday, the big day where the American embassy in Israel moves from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, something many of us never thought we would see in our lifetime. We're going to talk about that in a moment. But today is the big day for President Trump. Worldwide TV is going to be addressing the nation at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, which means 9 o'clock Middle East time, prime time at night, because we carried all over the place. He's going to be out making and then outlining his decision on whether or not to stay in the Iranian deal. People expect him to tear it up and be done with it. What do you look for? What's the reaction been so far to his upcoming speech?
Oh, the Arab media has been leading with the story. The BBC Arabic service, which is funded by the British government, has been suggesting, as many people think, that the president will pull out of the agreement. They seem to be displeased by that. The British government does not want President Trump to pull out. The Arab media, Saudi-owned media is putting a positive spin because they would like to see the president put more screws on Iran. The Iranian president has been sounding very worried and trying to suggest that Iran is okay and will do well whether the president pulls out or not. The Iranian currency, the rial, is hitting new lows against the dollar, so clearly that's not the case. There is a sense that the price of oil could go up further. It's been slowly climbing, inching up after a long period of decline. A lot of people, a lot of countries would like to see that happen out here in the Middle East. So it's mostly the Europeans that don't like the idea of the president pulling out, whereas here in the Middle East, a lot of Arab leaders would like to see him pull out.
Right, because number one, they don't trust the Iranians, right? I mean, that's one of the big issues, coupled with the fact that it's going to positively impact oil prices for them, not for us, but for them. Is that my understanding?
Yes, the Arab leaders, especially the Gulf states, are worried about Iran. Iran has threatened to fire, or the Houthi rebels in Yemen, which they support, has threatened to fire missiles at the United Arab Emirates, in addition to Saudi Arabia. They're already firing missiles at the Saudis, various Saudi cities. That could easily spiral out of control. They've also fired ballistic missiles that have come close to Israel. I think they are capable of firing ballistic missiles into Israel. And that's the key point in this conflict right now, Iran's ballistic missile program.
So if the president indeed scraps this plan, then the sanctions that were lifted, look, they already have the $1.8 billion that we sent over there in crates, right? That's already spent or gone. Can't get that back. But the sanctions that have been lifted, we now have U.S. companies doing business there with the Iranians. That has to stop, right? If he tears this up, they go back to the sanctions. All that gets unraveled, right?
Well, there are waivers on the sanctions. So if the waivers are lifted, then the sanctions go back into place. I'm not sure if a lot of American companies have actually done business other than trying to do business. European companies, many European companies do have long-standing trade with Iran. France manufactures automobiles inside Iran at Iranian plants. That's always been going on. That's never stopped, really. So their trade relations are a lot more robust. Boeing, of course, had been hoping to sell planes to Iran.
Okay, so that's not going to happen if the president scraps this deal. But it's aimed, what we have heard inside the White House is this is aimed to curtail the Iranian cash machine. Basically, that they're gaining cash because these sanctions got lifted. They're new companies they're doing business with, new trading partners, new governments. And so the president trying to almost model what he's doing against North Korea, which is choke their cash off, which he feels is they're taking that to then fund their terrorist activities around the globe. What's the reaction in the Gulf to this?
Well, certainly everyone is seeing the value of the Iranian rial drop to new lows. I was looking at the exchange rate. It's 42,500 rials to a dollar. I believe it was 30 not that long ago. So clearly just the threat of pulling out of the nuclear deal has made the Iranian economy tank. A lot of Iranians are converting their currency into dollars. They're worried that this these economic sanctions will bite again and cause more hardship. So certainly just the threat is putting the Iranian economy in difficult straits.
All right, Edward, let me ask you this. Edward Yeranian live in Cairo, our man in the Middle East on the John Fredericks Radio Network, been with me for 8 years. Eddie, let me ask you this. So the president making the speech today, 3 days ago, Hezbollah winning a pretty decisive victory, winning more seats in Lebanon, their tremendous presence in the West Bank. What is the status now of Hezbollah?
Well, their allies, the Christian leader, the Christian president, Michel Aoun, won a lot of seats. So the calculation is that Hezbollah and Michel Aoun have a very large block of seats. But that being said, I would not equate Michel Aoun with Hezbollah. He has a mind of his own, and his supporters voted for him, not for Hezbollah. So I don't know that that's a sign of massive victory for Hezbollah inside Lebanon. But they do control the apparatus of state in many instances. So that's been the case all along. It will continue to be the case. And the reason I'm in Cairo is because I don't like Hezbollah. So I have no reason to be happy about Hezbollah controlling Lebanon. That being said, the worry, of course, right now is that Israel attacked several Iranian bases inside Syria, the Taifur air base, where Iran's drone program is based, and also in the north of the country. And they allegedly killed 18, according to Arab media, Iranian military advisors. Now, Iran has said it will respond or retaliate when the time is favorable, that is, to Iran. So I guess there is a worry that some sort of conflict could break out.
Eddie, we're out of time. I want to thank Eddie Yeranian live in the Middle East today in Cairo. Thanks for being with us. Thanks for that analysis.